Yo,
What up? What up?
what's going on, man?
Oh, man, we back, man. What
Back at
episode?
it.
I think we on 192.
Is it 192, 191?
Approaching. I think it's 192, bro.
I think you are right. Yep, you're
approaching
right. It's
approaching the 200, man. That's exciting.
Yeah, dude, we're getting close. We gotta plan something big for the 200. I'm trying to think of what.
Maybe we should bring a guest then.
to do. Ooh,
Or not.
No, we gotta bring a guest, but we gotta bring the guest that we wanted to bring before. A guest that has recently changed genders. I think it would be fun to do that, like for the 200, because I feel like there's somebody who we could like actually have dialogue with. Hope like if they're still the same.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true.
It would be kind of hilarious. We'll see. I don't know.
Yeah, or not.
But also, yeah, or not. That might last 5 minutes. I might say some wild shit, and I can't be trusted.
we won't have a drink of the day that day.
No liquor at all. Or we can start drinking on the pod, but not pre-pod. Like, you know how we normally pre-game?
Yeah.
Y'all don't know. We pre-game like we're back in college going clubbing. We drink. We drink like we're trying to get hammered so we don't pay club prices for the beverages later.
That's why you never see me refill. This
man.
is the last one. Anyway,
I get real judgmental of me, by the way, watching the video sometimes.
Really?
I'm like, bro, you refilling already?
you do.
I sit
You
there
always
with it,
do.
and then it's always straight liquor.
Yep. It's only because you're home.
Yeah, you could always tell how shitty my week has been by how much I consume.
Yo, welcome back, everybody, to the Carbon Footprint Podcast. He is Juan and I'm Sean, and every week we get together, have a few drinks, talk about things going on in the world, try to focus on things making an impact, whether they be good, bad, or otherwise. Hit them with the drink of the day.
Listen, man, I wanted to hit up a little summer fun drink here that would also get you hella wasted. And if you guys have ever spent any time at a poolside bar or a tiki bar or something, you've probably had one of these. Made a rum runner. If you're watching the video, yes, that is 3 bottles of liquor on the table, and that's about half of the ingredients in this thing, and maybe less.
We couldn't fit the other bottles on the table.
The other bottles on the table. So it's literally a rum runner. 3 different types of rum. So it's 1 ounce of a clear rum, 1 ounce of a dark rum, and 1 ounce of a high proof rum. And what I tried to do when I made this one is pick rums I've never had. Okay. So I've never had this Largo Bay. Recommended by the guy there. He said, you know, they're inexpensive bottles. They hit and it's right. They seem fine. They seem good. And then he put me on to this the dark rum, which is this rum from Barbados called Dorley's, which we tried a little bit by itself, and it actually is good. Really, really good. I've never had it. So the 151 proof rum, high proof rum, is from Largo Bay. So is the clear rum, and then I did this Dorley's as the dark rum. So in a rum runner, you do an ounce of each one of those rums. You do an ounce of banana liqueur, an ounce of blackberry liqueur, and then you do an ounce of pineapple juice and an ounce of orange juice. Shake it in a shaker full of ice. So make sure it's full of ice. Pour it into preferably like a hurricane glass if you got one, a nice tall glass, because it is going to make a big drink. And then you just top it off with grenadine to like your liking. So it could be a splash, it could be whatever, you know, but the grenadine, and then you don't necessarily stir it in because it gives it a nice color and a nice flavor at the top. But these will sneak up on you people. Like, we are literally only on number 2, which is unheard of. That's
the
first one. I was like, I had finished the first one and I was like, yep. I mean, you got to think it's 5 ounces of liquor just in the one.
Just right.
So, but it is delicious. It's a great poolside drink.
I can see these going down real easy by the poolside, bro.
Yeah. And the thing is, they go down easy and then they like just kick in. Like, I've had these kick in before on me, because they go down like juice, and then suddenly they remind you that
they're not juice.
That's good. And I have heard, I want to try variations of it. So the recipe that I grabbed this week was supposedly like the original recipe when the drink was invented in Key West. So, you know, we're in Florida. Supposedly the origins of the drink are in Key West in like the early 1900s. Okay. Some people said like 1950s in Key West. Some people said that there's like evidence going back to the early 1900s, but we'll go with like 1950s-ish or whatever. So Key West. So this was the original recipe, was the banana liqueur, the blackberry, the dark, the light, the high proof. The grenadine, the pineapple, the orange. But there are some people who throw in lime juice. They leave out the high proof rum. Like, there's different variations of it, obviously. But this is supposed to be sort of, quote unquote, the real original rum runner.
Oh, that's dope.
Try that out, man. It's a great, and also I know it sounds like a lot, But in comparison to some of the stuff we do here on this pod, where we will pick a bourbon or a whiskey for an old fashioned that costs more than all of these bottles combined, all 5 bottles of what's in this were about $100 or less.
Oh, that's not bad.
So I was also very conscious about the stuff that I picked. The most expensive thing here was this Dorley's that was $25.
Oh, wow.
Everything else was under $20.
So it's all cheap liquor.
It's all cheap liquor.
Yeah, you're getting fucked up.
So you're welcome. So you'll feel it tomorrow. And a cheap liquor and sugar, the way God intended.
Goodness gracious, man. And we are repping the Hard Rock Cafe Hurricane glasses. Shout out to Hard Rock.
The San Juan, which is Puerto Rico, the capital of rum, the world capital of rum. So little homage to both there.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's good, man. I love this drink, and it's a drink that I don't think I've ever given a crack at home, and if I have, certainly not.
It wasn't on
this
purpose.
version. No, but definitely not this version. I've probably done the variations of it.
Yep.
If I know I've definitely have made things with those 3 rums together. But I've never done anything with the banana liqueur and the blackberry liqueur,
Yep.
like not sort of this, I guess, original recipe of it. So
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, excited. It's good. It's great.
Try it out,
It's
folks.
awesome.
Just be careful.
Yeah, just be careful. Maybe try to make it in a pitcher. Also, got to say, as I'm looking at this Dorley's, man, I do like the presentation, the little seal that it has here with the ribbon. I was looking at the box, and it's got like a bunch of awards that it's won or whatever.
Yeah.
I was afraid the guy was suckering me. The guy was like, you got to try this. And I thought, oh, this must be the thing that you're making commission off of.
All right.
But I was wrong. Dude, Total Wine has never let me down with their recommendations to the people there, man. And I didn't trust this kid because he was young, but he was right. so he looked like he wasn't old enough to drink.
Thank you, Total Wine.
Steer me wrong.
We
So
appreciate
shout out
you.
Total Wine, man. This is great.
All right, man. My carbon footprint, or our carbon footprint,
Yeah.
this week is going out to the U.S. government. And it is because they passed a law recently on the selective service and changes to the selective service.
Okay.
That
Selective service means
So when you're 18 years old in the U.S. As a male, you have to register for the selective service,
Okay.
which essentially means that if they implement a draft, then they can call you.
So do you have to go out of your way to go register somewhere once
You
you turn
did.
18?
You did, yeah.
did, right, yeah.
I think
Now you're automatically
like it's a
included.
law. It was like a law. Like you had to go do
You
it.
had to go,
I
okay.
remember when I turned 18. Like my mom going, you got to go down here and you got to go like register.
Because I didn't have to do that. Or maybe I did and I
No?
didn't do it.
Oh, and that's possible, bro. And maybe that's why this is. So
Okay.
the new law, and let me just get this right.
Yeah.
It automatically registers men between the ages of 18 to 26 into the selective service system. So changes are, it automatically registers you, and they've increased the age limit. It used to be 25, now it's 26.
I wonder if because people like me weren't registering.
Yes, and that very well could
Because
be, right?
honestly, I wasn't aware of that. I always thought the draft was voluntary. And,
Oh, really?
I had no idea it was mandatory. Not mandatory. Mandatory. I sounded like Medea. Yeah, like for me, it was always like an optional thing. I mean, I did consider joining the military. I think we talked about that on here before.
Yep.
But yeah, I definitely didn't register for something that would put me into like a draft. And if I was supposed to, I'm sorry, Uncle Sam, you guys can throw me in there now, I guess, if you want to.
No, you can't.
I'm
No,
old
no,
as
no,
fuck. I'm old as fuck now.
You're
but
too old, man. They don't want you anymore.
you know what's crazy is like I was thinking about this the other day. Like I still feel young, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like everything now,
Yeah, and you are.
Yeah. But
But you're not 25.
I give shit to like people who play sports, and I call them old as fuck, and they'll be like 35, and I'm like they're younger than me.
Like Kevin Durant looks like a really old. I think he's 35, right?
Bro, I think so. I think you're right, and he looks old. He looks
old.
he looks worn. And then, dude, I think about like LeBron James is like a year or two older than me, and
Yeah.
I look at him.
Is he what, 39?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. That's 2 years older than me.
Yep.
It's not, and I look at him like, oh, this guy's fucking ancient. And then I go, oh,
I'm right there.
I'm right there. And then I go, it's weird how we age you dependent on sort of like the area in life that you're in. It's bizarre. Because to me, I feel amazing. And to me, like from here to like 60, I feel like it's still like, like you're 50. You don't look like it, right? Like I don't look at you and go, oh, you're fucking old. You
Right,
know what I
right.
mean? Like, yeah. It's
Somebody does.
Somebody does, I'm sure. But,
Like my kids.
anyway, sorry, go back to the draft.
Sorry, man.
I got sidetracked.
So I was thinking about this, man, and I go like, first and foremost, man, I don't think that automatic. Like, if it's a law and people were getting around the law, I don't think it's a bad thing to automatically put you in this.
Like I said, like, if I fucked up, then yeah, sure,
Right.
I didn't know about it.
Now, the last draft was in 1973, and that was for the Vietnam War.
And did they have to do that because they couldn't get enough people to enlist? Is that what sort of like
Essentially
sparked
what it is,
because
man,
that was
you-
a very controversial war,
Right. So
Yeah,
you
yeah.
have to, if your military is not big enough to support what you're doing, you can implement the draft. The thing here is that I served in the military, right? And I volunteered, and I served with, and all the men and women that I served with were volunteers.
Okay.
I would be really skeptical of serving with people that were forced.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I don't
Okay.
know. I don't know that I would want to be serve with people that are being forced into it, and like I don't even know that I would. Like I don't know if I would trust them.
Yeah.
Because you have a certain, you get people that you get people that coming out. Don't get me wrong, man. They were voluntary people that I served with that sucked, right? But for the most part, the people that I served with were patriots.
Yeah,
like you know what I mean. And they again like they wanted to be there, and I would want to be. And even if I'm out of that, like now, I want to be defended by people that want to be in the military.
Dude, I think I made a joke about this on here before where I was like talking about me and like making fun of the fact of me, but it's like, yeah, I want someone there who wants to be there. No, I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
and that's not to say that that person couldn't come through and that obviously they're fighting for survival and they get, like they have their own sort of motivations once they get there. But yeah, I don't think anything compares to someone who wants to be there. To your point, and
And I'll be honest,
I think
man.
that's fair, man. Dude, that's like being like flying a plane with a pilot who hated, who didn't
Doesn't
want
really
to
wanna
be
be
a
a
pilot.
pilot.
Yeah, his parents made him go to flight school. It's
Right.
like in an emergency situation, and you got to land in the Hudson so you don't kill everybody. Like the guy I want is the guy who loves aviation. You know what I mean? Like that's the guy you want. Yeah. I think that's fair,
dude. And fuck, I just lost my train of thought. But anyway,
yeah. Do you? I think. Sorry, going back to like
Tell me.
You were saying like if you were serving, so like you're in the trenches, like this is hard. This is life.
Here's what I wanted to
there
say.
you
So
go.
it was when I joined. I mean, I love my country, but I didn't necessarily join because I just had this overwhelming like patriotic feeling.
Yeah.
I joined. It was a self-interested decision that I made. Right.
Sure, yeah.
I was at a point in my life where I wasn't sure about school, and I didn't really like what I was doing for work. And I was doing some extracurricular activities that I probably shouldn't have been doing. And I'm just like, you know what? I need some direction. So I definitely joined the military under like self-interested reasons. But then once I got in there, I don't know if they instilled it in me or that just kind of came naturally. Like, I was in the Marine Corps. I fucking loved the Marine Corps. I loved what I learned in there. I love what they taught me. I love what I learned from the men and women that I served with. It was an amazing experience for me that I would never trade. But I don't think I would have gotten that if I had gone in there forcefully.
But I also think that speaks to how good, I don't know, man. I think it speaks to how good our, I want to say training, but also sort of like the indoctrination of, like they make it to where there's, like we always talk about how in life we all have tribes. They sort of make, they force you into
that's a
this
fucking
brotherhood,
tribe, bro. Yeah,
and it's a
bro.
tribe.
That's
And
true.
so I think that even if you hated it, I think that it's no longer about like sort of the establishment, quote unquote. I think it's about the person next to you.
Oh yeah, and as a matter of fact, I remember.
And that's how they get you. That's how they psychologically. I think
Yes.
that's how they get you to care.
I remember one of, I don't know if it was a drill instructor or what it was, but somebody had said that, and it's just like, yo, when you go to war, you're not necessarily fighting for your country, you're fighting for your brother next to you.
Yeah. And and I'm glad that someone there said that, because I do think, and this is me as an outsider, right? Like I've never served, but I think from the outside looking in, there's a selfish perspective that I have where I go, well, fuck, I just want to get home. and I can subscribe to the idea of my friend getting home with me. Like, I want to make sure that guy's safe.
Right.
Like, I have dinner with this guy. I wake up, we work out, we there's a bond that you have there. Like, I want to make sure we're good. Where, like, I think a lot of times people get caught sort of in the patriotism of, like, you're serving your country. And sure, that's the overarching, like, theme, I guess, of it. But in reality, I think if you want to get sort of, like, micro with it, it's really as simple as, I'm looking out for the person next to me. And
I think I never heard it put that way as sort of being tribal, but it absolutely is. Now, the other part of this is, like, in the society in which we live now, and I'll just talk about the U.S., do you want 18 to 26-year-olds that are brought up in this generation fighting your wars?
Oh,
like this is the Instagram, TikTok, generation. It's also the generation where they seem, so I'll put quotes, they seem to be more confused about their sexuality, and dude, it's, I don't know that I want this generation to do that.
I'm glad you said that, because I want to play a clip from Cardi B, who was talking about this shit. Did you see this?
No, I did not.
Oh man, hold on. I'm going raw here. I haven't listened to it first. I just kind of Googled it real quick. But Cardi B, it's like, look.
Article saying that the House just passed a bill that they're going to automatically register men from 18 to 26 for war. Okay? And all I want to say is to America, good luck with that. These new little niggas are TikTokers, baby. These motherfuckers ain't gonna fight no war. You gonna die. You might as well just keep motherfucking investing money in your guns. Because these new kids, you want to send these new kids to fight these wars? The TikTok fucking hip shakers? Out of your mind.
Yo, she's not wrong.
This is America, baby. This ain't the 19 motherfucking. Nah, like, seriously, you
This ain't the 1900s.
These kids that be TikToking all day.
She said they're not built like they used to.
No, bro.
Yo, she's so right. She's so right.
Bro, it's funny, man. We, on Father's Day, which was what, like, was that like last Sunday? Like, not this past one, but the previous one, right?
Yep.
I was at my father-in-law's house. And we were sitting down, we were having some old fashions, smoking a cigar, and we started talking about the kids.
Like men. Damn it. Y'all wasn't TikTok.
God damn it, right. And he's serving in military too. What?
Shout out to Bob.
So we were talking about like our kid, like my kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like my kids, his son's kids, right? And I was telling them, like, yo, like, I don't. There's a part of me, I'm watching these guys grow up, and I'm just like, fuck, man, I feel like they're not where I think they should be.
Yeah.
And I wanted his perspective. And what he told me was, he goes, yeah, like, I see what you're saying, and he's like, but from the outside, he goes, they just grew up different than you. And he goes, so I think they'll be fine. And he goes, but it's going to take them a little bit longer because of the luxuries that you've been able to afford them that maybe you weren't afforded.
But did he think that about you? Not you specifically, but I mean your era, your generation, right?
Well, I'm married to his daughter, right? So no, I don't think that he thought that about
that generation. Was he like, oh, we're doomed? Do you know what I mean? Like, did he feel that?
Oh, that's true, man. I don't know. I didn't ask him. I didn't ask him that what he thought. But I do remember that generation going like, oh, these kids suck. These kids suck.
Because it's funny that we were just watching the NBA draft before this, and that kid came on. They got drafted by.
The one out of Duke?
Yeah, who was like, oh, I'm TikToking or whatever the fuck. And then he went to Philly. Which is like, yeah, good luck with that. But, dude, I'm personally turned off by the whole TikTok dancing. I like to have fun on social media like anybody else. Like obviously we do it for the pod, we do stuff. But and maybe this is, again, me getting older, right? Like, and I'm an old head now, I guess. But, like, I watched, like, what I would presume to be, you're supposed to be a man at this point in time, and you're doing like choreographed dances on the internet, And I am, especially when it comes to a pro athlete, I'm turned off. I'm like, yeah, I can't watch you. Like, there's a certain
I think that goes away if you're in this case a 76ers fan. And he balls out.
Nah, bro.
Then I think that you don't care
wait
anymore,
until the first bad game he has, or he misses a clutch free
be
throw.
like, I saw you on TikTok earlier, bitch.
Bro, people in Philly.
Oh yeah, bro.
Oh my God, bro. People in Philly be like, "Hey, faggot! If you spend less time on TikTok,
wait a minute, can you say the F word?
You'd have hit a free throw." Yeah, I don't even know. I'm about to get canceled for that one. I was saying it in the context of people from Philly, but like
yeah. I know.
Like it's just I could see people like from that area addressing them that way. But I say that to say like,
no, absolutely.
I look at that and I also agree with Cardi B is like, and I've always had this even before this, like I've always had this thing of like the kids, and I want to say this generation, but I see it with men my age, like people I went to high school with who are still like living with their mom or like still have like these pity parties for themselves, still don't have like the whole I know it's like a cliche to be like, you know, grab yourself from the bootstraps or whatever, you know, like pick yourself up, but like I think there is something to be said for that. Like people like that built this country, whether it was men or women or whatever, like it's like there is sort of like this entitlement and this softness that what's the quote that like we've used it on here all the time that like a soft men create
hard times
like hard times creates hard men or some shit like that, whatever. Anyway, but it's basically like
we gotta figure that out. Let's figure that out. So it's like is it hard men create easy times?
Yeah.
Easy times create soft men. Soft men create hard times.
That's exactly what it is. And I feel like that's the era we're entering in. We're entering the era of soft men who will create hard times inevitably. And then the cycle will flip back
and
around.
Then it'll be fun.
Yeah. But I do think, to her point, it's like maybe I don't think we're doomed. And I don't think we're doomed like by picking this generation, mainly because I think a lot of these wars now aren't fought the way they used to be fought.
True.
You're not storming the beach at Normandy.
Right.
You're not, boots on the ground and,
which boots on the ground still happen, right? So I mean,
absolutely. But you're not dropping in on Phnom Penh and not going door to door as much,
right.
and you're not doing that stuff. Like it's a lot of drone, it's a lot of technology, it's a lot of aircraft, a lot it's not as sort of like combative from a face to face sort of that it used to be, and so maybe intellect and technology and all that stuff does help in sort of the future war state. But
it's like they'll grab a kid that plays Fortnite really well, and then he'll fly the drone really good.
Yeah, but you couldn't grab that kid and throw him in a bunker in World War One. You know what I mean? Like, those fucking dude. Whenever I watch a movie of like World War One, I feel inadequate. You know what I'm saying? Like,
fuck that.
You ever watch? What is it? 1911, what's that movie?
I know 2020.
1918. Fuck, I'm gonna get it wrong, but it's the year World War One is. I should know this, but. You watch that shit and you watch these guys doing stuff, and I'm like, oh, I'm a pussy. Like compared to these dudes back then, but it's like I'm a product of my time now.
Correct.
But I'm like, man, I used to do this joke. I was doing stand up of like, it was like Game of Thrones was popping at the time, and of like if I lived in that sort of era, obviously Game of Thrones is fantasy, but like if I lived in a time where this was like real, like the premise of the joke was like, I don't even like to take out my trash at night because of like raccoons. Can you imagine me in this fucking time where I'm like, bro, y'all gotta shit outside and and like fight dudes with malices and like spiked clubs and whatever. I'm like, nah, I'm out.
Where's the air conditioner?
Yeah, exactly. But it's like I'm very self-aware to know that like, you throw me into medieval times of the me of today, and I'd struggle, right? But
of course.
Yeah, but I'm also not naive enough to like know that it takes like a certain type of person or human being or whatever. But it's fascinating because I don't know what this means. Like okay, on one front, I feel like this means that we're getting lower. Maybe enrollment into the military? Is that what it is?
I don't know, man. You know what? I know for some time, I can't remember when this was. Fuck, this is probably 15 years ago. where we had almost like too many.
I do remember this.
Where
Yeah,
they where the military
they were turning people away.
Yes, and they were being very selective on who they said yes
Absolutely.
to.
I remember this. Yep.
So I don't know what space we're in now. I don't know if we're at a space where where there's not enough enrollment, and or are they looking ahead and going, yo, it's very possible that we get into some like major conflict.
Well, because to your point, like as much as video games and these kids play and all that stuff, maybe it doesn't translate into interest in real life combat and that sort of stuff.
Right.
Like, so maybe they're sort of seeing a trend of it starting to go down. I think is it the ASVAB? Is that the test
ASVAB,
you
that's the
take
test, yep.
to get? Yeah, I remember. I took that. I remember I was going to join the military, but I remember taking that, and whatever my score, I don't remember like the number, but whatever it was, evidently it told them that I could pretty much do fucking anything in the military.
Okay.
But I remember the guy going like, you can literally have your pick of like what you want to do, and I was like, yeah, no, I'm good. And this was like after I had turned them down. They hadn't really revealed to me what like the score thing was, because I was already like sort of committed. I was like working out with the guy all the time and all that stuff. And then I remember when I was backing out, he's like, yeah, but you can literally pick your job. Like you're not and I didn't realize that they did this. I mean, obviously common sense tells you that they do, but depending on your score, it's like, yeah, you can do this job and you can do this job, and they place you into categories, and you get to pick like sort of what you want to do. And he's like, yeah, you can do all the shit that's like doesn't have to be, basically like
be boots on the ground.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And he's almost did it as a way to talk me into it. And I was like, no, I'm good. And he was like, no, like seriously, you scored here and you could, but I wonder now, like these kids are really smart. Like what are you doing this because you want more of these kids there? Because it is maybe technology centric.
Well, here's the deal. Typically, I think and again, I've never been drafted. Obviously, the last draft was in 1973. But from what I understand, if you get drafted, then they put you where they want you.
So you have no say.
That's correct. So then, on the contrary, when you volunteer, then you do something like the ASVAB, and then they go, oh, based on your score, you have access to all of these jobs, right? If you score really well. So, and you'll see, and I've read about, when they've implemented the draft of people going, oh, the draft is implemented, I'm just going to join voluntarily, so that I have choice.
Oh, it's because if you do get that choice, then you get to go pick what you want to do.
Then you get to go
instead
pick.
of them going like, hey, we have a need that we need to fulfill, and we need you to sort of fill that.
Right.
Oh,
where they're going like, oh, we're already good on the tech jobs. We need feet on the ground.
Yeah, I can see that, because I also think that played a big part into me not wanting. Well, first off, when I was going in, listen, this speaks to a generation of kids being bitches. The whole Afghanistan, Iraq thing was popping off, and Kuwait and all that.
And you were like in high school during that time, right? Okay.
And so I was almost guaranteed to be in Fallujah and all that stuff.
And we know somebody who went.
Yeah,
who was in that. Yeah.
And I was guaranteed. And I remember talking to people like that, and I was like, it was something where I was like, fuck, I wasn't really considering that when I was thinking about joining.
Yeah.
And then that mixed with the fact that I wanted to be like a pilot, and like for whatever, I couldn't do it because of my vision and all that shit at the time. And
that's not still true, right?
Not anymore, because I think they pay for your LASIK and all kinds of other shit.
Okay.
But I also think I was too tall to be a fighter pilot. It was like it could happen, but it was like, bro, your vision's bad and you're too tall, and it was like they have to invest so much money in you. I think because which I didn't realize at the time, or I didn't realize it until I'm talking to the dude. But like these aircraft are designed for very specific people, and then they basically custom make the accessories for you. So like the helmet is made for you, like your seat and your whatever, all that stuff is like fitted to you and all that stuff. So it was like, bro, you're too tall. You have shitty vision. You have it's like you have to blow them out of the water.
Right. You got to be exceptional.
And then that's where my score worked against me. And it's like, and your score is this. And like, while your personality fits the like what they want out of a pilot, your score says like it's almost like they get better use of you in these segments. And it was like, hey, you could pick anything you want, but actually we would want you to pick one of these.
Right.
It was like one of those things. But like, it was really bizarre. Like I remember like thinking at the time, going like, fuck, all I could focus on was like, I don't really want to go to war. Like, I thought this shit would be cool. I do my 4 years. Like, whatever. I get to travel a little. Maybe I get stationed somewhere. Like, I don't want to go fight. Like,
You was too late, bro. You should have came in with me in 94.
Bro, but that goes back to the shit we were saying before. It was like, I'm thinking this because I'm not in yet. I'm not thinking this because I'm unpatriotic, like, of like, oh, I don't want to fight for this country. Like, I love where I live, right? Like, I love it here. As someone who has traveled a little bit around the world, I've, to places that are good, not that I've been to places that are bad, but there are very few places like here. And so there is a certain gratitude that I have about being from here. I think it was, I didn't have that attachment yet. I didn't have that brotherhood. I think it's very different.
Oh, yeah.
To take this full circle to what your original point was. It was like, I would have, if I was, say, training with like a bunch of kids for this whole time and I knew they were all going in, it probably would have made me go in because I would have felt indebted to like my clan. And I was like, no, if these guys are going, like, I got to go because like that would talk me into it, right?
And
like,
I think I had told you this story before, man. When I was getting out, I think I was like the year that my contract would expire essentially. My unit, there was like talk about the unit going to Iraq or Iran. I don't remember which one it was at the time. This is like 1998. So this is pre 9/11.
Man, it makes you wonder. It was like they knew shit was coming,
dude. So I remember there was some like talk about that, and I remember going to the CO and going, "Yo, like if the unit goes, like I'm getting out in May, but if the unit goes, I want to go because over the last 3 years." The guys that I served with had become my family.
Yeah, of course, bro.
And so
you're having barbecues
there's
with
no
them.
fucking way that they're going and I'm not.
Dude, your wife and their wife are hanging out, right? Or your girlfriend and their girlfriend. You're like, it's like you said, it's the family you have while you're there. And I think it's a different sort of family because the stressors are all the same, right? Like your wife or your girlfriend, your spouse, whatever, like, and theirs has the same worries, has the same stress, has the same beefs with like the lifestyle or whatever it is, right? Like they bond over that, and so I think it's a very different.
And it was cool, man. There was a few times where I had to go away for like 4 weeks or 6 weeks, and to have like my people like check on my wife.
Yeah, you weren't worried
like,
about it.
I wasn't worried because they just like, yo, while you're gone, like my wife's gonna go over and check, and they would always check in on her and make sure
you guys lived on base.
Yes,
and so you're not feeling worried about her safety either.
Correct.
Yeah. It's a very different, and I can see that, man. I think that's if instead of doing a drive, I think if they figure out a way to like get you to feel that sense of family before. There's got to be a way. They'll figure it out, but there's got to be something you could do. Because to your point, if they force me in, and then next week I'm kicking doors down with you, and I've never met you, am I gonna watch your back the same way as if I went through some of this stuff with you, and I lived life with you, and I had a barbecue with you, and like all that stuff? It's not the same.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, it's not the same. It might be the longest carbon footprint we've ever had, man.
I know, man.
Anyway, I go back to like, I don't know what this means, but also like it A, I don't know if enrollment's low, but B, does that mean they foresee a conflict coming where they will need this in place? Is this just proactiveness? Is this, I don't like, that's more what I'm curious to see what happens.
Agreed. I also think that, I'm not against it because it was really a law anyway, and this just kind of keeps people from not following it.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was a law. I just found out I was breaking it on this pod. Shout out. Shout out to you. Thank you. My bad, Uncle Sam.
You're welcome. All right, man. I gotta hit you with this, and I sent this to you.
Yeah,
I was thinking about this over the weekend. I'm not even sure why the hell this shit came into my head. I think I was listening to me.
What the fuck is happening with it?
I was listening to another pod, and then something that they were talking about kind of, got me thinking and came up with this thought. So this is for all of y'all out there, and I'm looking at you in the camera, so check it out. All right. If you could go back in time and marry like a better partner, and you would have children with them, and you would have a more satisfying life, would you do it? And know I sent this to you.
You
like,
did.
This
you
is
did.
like on Sunday.
You did, and the caveat you gave me was, however, you would not have the kids you have today, but you wouldn't know that, like, you could erase the memory of that.
Right. So if you and again, so if you don't have kids, like, just be quiet and skip on to the next segment because you can't answer this.
Yeah.
So this is really for like people that already have children. So the deal is, like, you could go back, get a, like, almost like pick a better partner, have a more satisfying life. You would have kids with that other person, but obviously they would not be the kids that you have today. Now, if you choose to do that, your current children would not be born, but you would have your memory erased.
They would erase
so you
your
would
memory.
never know about it.
I think I couldn't make the decision. And so, like, I think I was telling you, like, my immediate response was, I can't make that decision because I know my kids exist. And so I wouldn't want you to erase the memories of my kid existing. I think the way I look at it.
So then the decision is that so then you wouldn't.
No, I wouldn't change it because I want to be careful about how I word this. So I wouldn't change sort of like the things or the relationships I've had in my life to date, because like one of the, I don't want to call it a saving grace, but I think I think for me, my kids mean so much to me that I go, if I got them out of this, then that in itself is worth everything to me, right? And that's not to say the relationships are fucking horrible or whatever, like that aside, I find it really difficult to go, I would walk away from any of this stuff knowing that I got them. Because I know them, I have them, like, like, even if you told me, like, hey, but I'll erase your memory, I go, yeah, but me making the decision, correct, I don't know that. And so, I know that I have them,
and they would cease to exist.
Correct. And so I couldn't do it just because of that. Because to me, like, I mean, it's funny. I think it's weird when you think about all the decisions in your life that led you to a certain point in time, and you think about how one could have led to one leads to all of them, right? Like,
yes,
like, dude, something like the kids I have come down to something as simple as like a decision someone made when I was 10. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
bro.
And it's like the domino effect of things like that. So it's hard for me to go, do I wish certain things in my life didn't happen? Maybe. But if I think that those things had to happen for me to get to where I got to, I'm okay with that. Like, and if the thing that I got to was my kids, like them specifically, yeah, I can't, there isn't anything that I would trade, I think, back for them. There isn't a single thing. Yeah.
My thought was this, man. I was like, I am who I am because of the people in my life.
Absolutely.
And that includes, my current wife. It includes my children. And I think, like, to your point, it's like, sure, like, could I have been better with another person? Maybe another person brings out a different side of me, and maybe I have other kids and I love them just the same and whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. All that stuff could be true. But I go, my life is pretty fucking good. And I have to give credit to that. I have to give credit to the people in my life for the life that I have. And so if I'm like, I don't know, if I think that my life fucking totally sucks, then I could see possibly making like a different decision. But I think to your point of everything kind of had to fall in place to be in the exact spot that I am in right now. Do I trade that? I don't think so, man.
Dude, I know you're a better person than me because you were like, oh, I got to credit the people in my life to where I got now. Because I immediately thought of the scene in Scarface where he's like, who put this thing together? Eh? Me. That's
Dude, and but it's funny, man. And a lot of times, right? Like when we're going through frustrating times and stuff like that, especially with people that are close to you, because people that are close to you see you at your fucking worst and at your best and everything in between. And sometimes you have those moments where you just go like it's like I'm the glue, goddammit.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? But again, like I think that I think that those people in your life also have those moments. Like we all have those moments.
Dude, I go back to, and this is something I think over the last few years I don't want to say I've learned, but I think I've just understood more of what it meant, and I think resonates more with me is that the good moments are easy. Having good moments with people are easy. Like there's this thing I always think, like I could go on vacation with anybody. Like tomorrow, if you put me on a beach somewhere or anywhere on vacation with a complete stranger, I would have a blast. It didn't matter because we're at our best when we're in those moments.
Yeah.
But who you spend the day in and day out with, the who do you go home to, who do you call when you had a rough day or when shit didn't go your way, you get fired, you get like whatever, like who, like the people that you could, that aren't only, you're not only having a good time when things are great, but also like when shit's fucked up. Like I think there's more value in that. Like you know, you hear like couples all the time who like, you know, they'll be like, oh, we should go on vacation. Like, we're trying to rejuvenate our marriage or whatever. It's like, no, that's the, like, sure, maybe you need to decompress for a little bit for something, but that's not the sort of like answer to your marriage, because the answer or the problem or the thing that you need to work through is the day to day. When life comes at you and punches you in the mouth every day, because it does, because like we have kids, because we have jobs, because we have, you know, whatever, a practice for your kid's sports team or dance recital or whatever, like, and shit gets frustrating and you're mad and you're whatever, like the person that you can still look at and at those times and be like, oh, you got me, and like you're not frustrated, and you can sort of like, dude, like when people say it's 50-50, it's bullshit, like, because sometimes you have 70-80% to give and that person only has 20, and I think it's
or
that
vice versa.
person.
Yep.
Exactly, and it's vice versa. It's like that person where you can go like, I know you got me today because I'm 20%, and like I think that's a shit where like you pick out like somebody, and I think that's something I've come to learn. The last thing is like I could have a good time with anyone. It's like, who can I have a bad time with and still want you
And
there?
still want you there.
Yeah.
Yep, that's true, man. And dude, here's one thing that I thought about, man. I was like, because you could make arguments for either one. All right, we just made arguments for sort of keeping as is. I'm sure somebody else could be like, no, my life is so fucking terrible, and it was because I was with this person, and I would trade it in a second. Now, I thought about this, and I go, which one of these decisions is more righteous, if any?
Ooh.
And what I think is that they're both fucking selfish.
Okay.
I think they're both. I think
they're both selfish?
I think they're both selfish.
Okay, so staying with the like
With
the what I
what?
picked. So staying with the current
Staying what you
circumstance.
have.
Okay, what's selfish about that?
Because you're still serving yourself. It is because you know and you love these individuals and you know the impact that they've had on your life, and you're not willing to trade that. It's just as selfish as going, my life sucks and I want it to be different. I think we're, you know, it just speaks to,
I didn't really consider
it just
it
speaks
from
to
that
the
angle, but
it just speaks to the how self-interested humans are.
Yeah, I think we definitely are selfish. I mean, yeah.
Even if you go, well, you know, like, oh my God, like I love my kids so much, and I couldn't imagine life without them. That's fine. You couldn't imagine life without them.
Yeah, it's just
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like, it's, even though it's not, it doesn't.
Yeah, if their life was better off without you in it, would you make that sort of like sacrifice?
They would never exist without you in it.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, no, I get what you're saying. Like I'm trying to think of sort of like the counterpoints to that argument. Like, I guess the devil's advocate would be there's a positive for both people in this scenario. Like, your kids still get to exist, and you. Get
Oh
to
no,
have
there
them.
absolutely is a positive. But is it any more positive than, let's say, like for you, you have 2 kids. Is it any more positive than you having 2 other kids?
I would say yeah, because I like my current kids that exist, right, would
Yeah.
no longer exist, and so
Of course.
also that's shitty for them.
Yes.
So there are,
But you're also,
while it's selfish
but you're
for
also
me,
foregoing creating 2 other humans.
sure, but they don't exist yet.
Yeah, I know.
So I think that the like as an entity goes, or like as a living being, the priority is going to be on the one that exists, right?
Of course.
Like yeah. So I think they have the memories and all that stuff, and so it's like, do I take that away from them, or do I let this atom, this cell that is like become a thing? I don't know, like. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like, does that thing get more rights than the actual humans that already exist? I don't know. Fuck that. There's way too much rum in this.
Things that make you go, And then
you need to let me smoke weed before we have conversations like that.
Sorry, man. I'll
give me an edible something, bro.
I'll warn you next time.
Or go ahead.
Or you could have a daughter like the hot tour girl. If y'all have not seen this week's internet sensation is Mrs. Haley Welch out of Nashville.
Oh, is that her name?
Out of Nashville, Tennessee.
Go Titans.
If y'all have not seen this, I'm about to pull this up.
Okay, yeah, play it, because this girl's gone viral, and I can't for the life of me, like, I shouldn't say I can't figure out why. I have a few theories, but it just doesn't make sense, and it's weird about how things go viral.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, here we go. Oh, come on.
Oh, you gotta give him that.
No, hold on.
You got to play the whole thing.
I gotta play
Yeah.
the whole thing. Hold on.
So let me set up the stage. Like this guy, there's a guy. He's a TikToker, like there's some social media guy, and he goes around and he's asking questions to people on the street, and he asks her, "How do you keep a guy like interested?" Or
I think this
something
one is
like
a question too.
Yeah.
That makes a man go crazy every time.
Oh, you gotta give him that huck too and spit on that thing.
What's one move in bed that makes a man go crazy every time?
Oh, you gotta give him that huck too and spit on that thing.
You get me? The fucking twang is hilarious. You get me? And she looks like she's 12. Oh my god.
No, but it's just that we're old.
Yeah, fuck. I'm gonna pretend like you didn't say that to me, and then just crush my soul.
Listen, man. This. So if y'all, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you guys are on social media. You've seen this. The memes that have been created from this have been freaking priceless.
The memes have been the best part. The actual video itself is trash. I don't care. It's not that interesting.
No.
The memes that they have made from it, they have nothing to do with what she's talking about, have been the funniest shit. So funny. I forget how fucking witty people are.
But this video went viral.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel bad for her father.
That's the first thing I thought about when I saw this girl going viral.
Not because I think it's so bad, but because it went viral.
Yeah.
Right? So you as a girl that...
Nah, the whole thing is bad for me thinking
One of the memes that I saw was them going like... It was like a split screen, and the top was like her doing the thing, and the bottom was like a dad like watching his social media feed and seeing the video. It was fucking hilarious.
Nah, bro, there's all those dads out there that aren't getting hot to it who are like, she's on to something.
Nah, you didn't get that from your mother.
You didn't get that from your mother.
You're welcome.
You're welcome. Bro, I couldn't understand for the life of me how shit went viral. Like, it was almost annoying. And I was like, because when I saw, I'm like, why is this even a thing? And then I kept seeing it pop up on memes. I'm like, oh, the fucking memes are funny. Like, people were incorporating like Star Wars shit, and like you said, like there were like things that had nothing to do with.
Bro, the fucking Stanley Cup Finals were this past week, right? There was a couple Oilers fans that got 20, the number 24 and fucking hot tour on the back.
Yeah, I saw the quarterback to the Dolphins. There was a lot of memes of him.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
There was so many good ones of him. So like the creativeness of that was like funny. I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like it's funny. And even like like exchanging messages with friends and stuff this week, and they were like throwing that in there, and I'm like, wow, this shit really went like super viral. And I was like, I really don't get it. And at first I thought, oh, is it because, like, she has the twangy accent, she kind of laughs about it, like, oh, it's cute. It's like, oh, it's cute, like, it's funny.
Yeah, it's
because
funny.
I've heard this guy ask this girl question, and some of these girls get super vivid with shit where I'm like, oh, yeah, that would work. Like hers was the least.
Yeah,
like,
but
it wasn't.
it would
There was
still
nothing.
work.
There was nothing impressive about it at all. No, but it would still work. But I was also, I went, man, is it like the sort of innocence that she sort of portrays? Is it like because she laughs about it? Is it the twangy accent that makes it like funny or makes it cute or makes it like I couldn't understand why people were so obsessed with this. And then I went, is there's just a population of men who just don't get blowjobs? Or like, oh, this is be amazing. There's a severe shortage of blowjobs going around right now. And maybe this is it.
Ladies, step up your game.
Yeah, listen, you're getting drafted. You guys need to start.
All those guys, 18 to
They need
26.
And then, bro, the fucking there's a real problem with me with like every situation I think about how you can monetize this.
Yeah.
And I remember like a week ago or whenever this shit started popping off, I went, oh, she's smart. She trademarks this Haktua thing. She leans in. She gets some, I thought about, fuck, if you're her dad, this has to suck. But then I went, okay, she could be like, yeah, I was joking around. I thought it was funny at the time. I didn't think it'd go viral.
Right.
Like all that. And if you're her dad, I guess you can sort of get past that. You can be like, hey, can you have a conversation with your mom? But the other part of me was just like, fuck, man, like, you might as well monetize this. Like the trademark fucking Haktua, like do sign brand deals with something that aligns with that and all that stuff. Like, because you have this like sort of 15 minutes of fame.
Right,
you're going viral anyway, as much as it makes me sick to my stomach. Like,
You might as well get paid.
You might as well get paid. You might as well like get something out of this, because she can get like, you always hear like podcasts and they pump like fucking sex toys or like pills or like fucking club meds or whatever. You figure you could throw her into anything, and then because people got so creative with that, you don't even have to be, it doesn't even have to be something sexual. You could find a way to sort of like sneak her in. And I'm like, man, if I'm her, then at this point you're like, fuck, this is embarrassing, but the train is rolling and I can't stop it. I might as well get something out of it. And so I just immediately started thinking about if I'm her agent or somebody who wants to meet her. And what do I? Yeah.
There was a false story that came out that she was a preschool teacher and was fired from her job.
I'm glad you said that, because I know the one day I think yesterday or whatever, I heard that people were trying to locate her and they couldn't because she had to deactivate socials. Which I was that makes sense. Like I could see
that makes sense.
But then today I saw something, that story saying like, oh, she got fired.
Yeah, and from what I've read, that was a false story. But it got me thinking. Like when I first read it, I was just like, oh shit, like, yo. Can we not do shit in our personal life? And then, like, she's out with her friend and they're partying and she just says something. And, and again, she didn't get fired, but I could see companies doing that. Like, especially if she was a teacher.
Oh, bro, she's a teacher, especially she's a teacher at a private school.
Yeah, it's a rap.
Maybe there's a religious aspect to it. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that. And funny, man, again, when I first saw the actual clip of when it happened, I'm like, oh, it's funny.
Yeah,
like,
I just kind of went past it and I just started seeing.
Same, and then I just started seeing it everywhere.
And I was just like, holy shit, man, this is like a thing.
I just thought it was an indictment on how many people don't get blowjobs, and I'm like, yo. I was like, oh. But like, yeah, I couldn't. It's funny, man. I try to like psychologically, like I overthink these things, and I'm like, man, what made this thing the like thing that people got obsessed about? Like, it just didn't make sense to me. I don't know. It's fascinating to me. It's like I wonder what Harvard course there'll be like fucking 4 years from now on, like the emergence of this and what it turned into, what she did with it, all the, whatever. I don't know. I'm sure there'll be something, but I don't know. I didn't get it. It was funny. Dude, I find the actual the memes that people are coming up with about other shit funnier. Like, the shit, if you really want to go down a rabbit hole and listen to this guy and do other shit, the shit that some women say are fucking crazy. So she has the most tame response I've ever seen.
and which proves, and this actually, to me, is like a lesson, especially for those, like for content creators. Mm-hmm. You never know what's going to go viral. Like, and Gary Vee preaches this shit forever, where he just goes, yo, record your content and just put it out and let the people decide, because you really never know. Like you said, that dude puts out a lot of shit that's way more vulgar from other women, and then this kind of one that's kind of simple just kind of caught on and went viral. You just never know, man.
Dude, and maybe that's the thing. It wasn't vulgar. You could play it around anybody. You could. It's an innuendo. You know what I mean? Like it's like you could get away with it. Like the same way Seinfeld is as a stand-up comic is popular because it's safe. It's you play it around. He doesn't say, like. I'm like, maybe it's that. I don't know. Like it was just. I'm always like super fascinated about the psychology of like how shit like this pops off, because I'm like, I don't get it. And it's funny, like you're mentioning, like you just never know. I do that with this pod a lot, like whether it comes to clips, whether it comes to the actual episode. Like I hate watching myself or listening to myself. Like fucking hate it. And so I
don't anymore. I did in the beginning, bro.
I don't like, and that's not to say like obviously I'm proud of what we do together and have time. Like it has nothing to do with that. But like if I'm like my own worst critic, right? So like I never like it. And then the things that I do like, where I'm like, oh, that one's actually good, it never hits the same way as the shit that I'm like, oh, that was all right. And that happens with episodes, that happens with clips we put up, that happens with any social media post, happens with the clips that I think are trash always outperform the ones that I like. Always. So I'm like, I don't know shit. I know what I like.
People like, fucking sending them off. Like, look at this trash.
Yeah. Dude, it's so funny. One of our biggest clips was like what I thought would just be a throwaway for something us to throw. And I think to this day, it's like one of our biggest clips ever, has a few thousand hits on it. And it's not funny. It's not something that I think I think it's you talking about the Will Smith book. There isn't anything controversial. We don't say anything nuts about it. And the reason I know this is because I've stared at this thing a million times.
And you go, why?
Trying to figure out why. Yeah. Dude, because I want to know the psychology of the why. I'm like, what's the why? Like I've watched it a million times. If it has 3,000 views, I'm 2,500 of them, bro, because I'm trying to figure out at the time why I was going. And I'm like... And I literally watch everything from body language to like the words we use to how it was delivered, the cadence, the tone, everything, bro. And I can never figure out the science of like, why did that one catch on in the algorithm compared to everything else we've done, where there's like a joke that you might say that I think is hilarious, that I might say that I thought was hilarious, and I'm like, man, that shit was so funny. And the only thing I've learned in this whole thing is that I don't know shit about what other people think.
But the lesson is, people, if you're content creators, just put it out.
Fucking hawk tool. Spit on that thing and let it ride.
Yo, talk to me about this fucking. Actually, how we doing on time?
We're 57 minutes in.
Perfect.
We got a couple minutes. Yeah.
Good. Talk about this woman that sues her company.
I hate this bitch, bro. I gotta get her name right, because I say I hate this bitch. Please don't go hit her up. I'm sort of being facetious and sort of not. So this lady, this week, I saw a story where she sued her employer. I want to see if I have her name. So she sues her company. Her name is Lawrence Van Wassenhove, and she has sued her employer, Orange is the name of her employer, for discrimination after being paid for 2 decades, meaning 20 years, without being assigned any work. So she was initially hired by France Telecom.
For what?
For not having anything to do.
No, but I'm like, so she wants money?
I'm gonna get there. Yeah. She goes training. She goes, France Telecom in 1993 hired her, and later offered a secretary position due to her health needs. Despite her request for a transfer and subsequent health evaluation deeming her unsuitable for her role, she was placed on standby and later on extended sick leave. She claims that this prolonged period of inactivity led to severe isolation and depression, compelling her to seek legal recourse.
Wow, bro.
Basically, they were like, we don't know what the fuck to do with you.
So we're going to give you a job.
We give you a check.
Yeah.
And you ain't got shit to do.
I'm trying to get that.
That's why we can't have nice things. I fucking hate people, bro. You know who hasn't gotten hot to it? This bitch.
But she definitely not hot to
She not hot to it. She not getting hot to it. Ain't nobody. I mean, I seen a picture of her. Ain't nobody hot to him.
God damn it! If you ain't hot to him, I don't want to talk.
Yeah, fellas, that shit goes both ways, by the way. But bro, I'm like, we can't have nice things ever. People fuck things up for everybody, bro. She is saying that she got paid for 20 years with nothing to do, and because it led to her being depressed and isolated, that's a you problem. No, bitch, go fill your void. Go fill your void somewhere else. Why the fuck does your employer have to be responsible for you liking yourself, for your self-esteem? I don't understand that shit, bro.
This is called U.S. basic income.
Look at us being socialist.
Is it universal basic income?
Yeah,
is that what
universal basic income. That's
universal
what it is.
basic
Bro,
income.
this basic bitch, she fucking, oh my God, bro. It's so infuriating. I'm trying to think.
She's ahead of her time.
She's ahead of her time. Is it? I want to make sure it's in America. Man, if you look at her too, look at her.
What is she? She should have just got fired based on her looks.
Bro, I don't think, now that I'm looking at her,
I'm not even hiring that person.
she has one tooth. I don't think she can. I take it back.
They can't put her in the front. They
Can't put in thing. She can't hawk to it. It's more like she got gums.
She'll spit out that last tooth.
She got one, bro. She looked like Mater from fucking Cars.
the truck.
She really does, and she looks like she talk like him too. I hate selfish people like this. You want to talk about being selfish, bro?
No, man, hold on. Let me tell you who don't need to fucking get paid anymore. Did you see 50 Cent got hacked?
Ooh, no, I didn't see it. Wait. Don't tell me that he's not the trolling king we all thought he was.
Oh, no. He is definitely the trolling king.
Okay.
But 50 Cent, apparently, the social media accounts got hacked, and they were promoting a G-Unit meme coin.
Oh, like a crypto, so like a Doge
like a crypto.
or like a Shiba.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. And in 30 minutes, they made $3 million.
No way, bro.
In 30 fucking minutes.
Good for the kids who came up with that.
That's what he said.
I love 50, bro.
That's what he said. He's just like, yo good for you.
That's a great scam. Fuck, yo, I respect ingenuity, bro.
And I love, dude, the whole G Unit, like it just fits.
Yep. Yeah, I respect it, bro. It's like, you ever seen a homeless guy with a sign that's so good and honest that you're like,
I gotta give him money.
I gotta give money. Like I remember once seeing a homeless guy where it was like, oh, too ugly to prostitute, too lazy to work, some shit like that, and he goes like, just need money for beer. And I was like, you got it, bro. I respect the honesty, dog.
There's a guy by my house that had that fucking sign.
See, now they're online just sharing signs. Like, what the fuck do I know?
He was like, and I forgot what it didn't say exactly that, but the last line in his little cardboard was just like, need money for beer.
Fucking A, bro. Good for them, bro. Good for them. Yeah, man. I didn't. That's crazy. So, what did they hack his social media and do the post for people to go buy it? Like, how did that work?
I didn't see the post, but I saw 50's actual post that was just like, yo, my shit got hacked. And these dudes promoted this fucking bullshit like meme coin.
Man, it's fucking brilliant.
And he was just like, yo, good for them.
I didn't know people were still falling for meme coin things, scams too. So fucking $3 million.
I mean, fuck, man. I still got stock in Dogecoin and fucking Shiba Inu.
I do too, but like like you thought the hype for that was gone. So the fact that people are still like jumping on it just shows there's still like a market for it.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is news in major companies and corporations and even the U.S. government like shifting towards like a Bitcoin.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So that it's coming again. There's gonna be a lot of like bullshit coins, but you figure like your Bitcoins, your Ethereums, and there's a few others out there that will take off.
Yeah, fucking A, man. Good for these people that came up with the scam.
Yep.
I'm sorry if y'all fell for it.
Dude,
but
we got to
do your research.
We got to talk about this. Michael Rayner.
Dude, I'm glad you mentioned this shit, bro, because we got the presidential elections coming up, and we got
we got a debate tomorrow.
the debate is
it
tomorrow.
Yes.
And you know this is the king of grabbing by the pussy, and you know won an election for the highest office in the land. You know, like a week after the video leaked about him saying grabbing by the pussy, and I don't necessarily disagree with the Donald. I get what he was saying. Like, if you're a billionaire, rules are a little different for you. However,
you treat it a little bit differently.
I get it. Whatever. But I saw that someone was grabbing someone by the dick on the social stream.
It turned it around.
Go ahead. Set the stage. Go ahead.
So from what I know, Ty Lil, I think that's I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's a streamer. Was doing a live stream. His sister comes on there, Michael Rainey Jr., who I can't remember, what is he from? How do we know this person?
That sounds like such a familiar name, bro. I'll tell you right now.
Look it up. Anyway, so Michael Rainey Jr., I think he's an actor.
Yeah, he is. You're definitely right about that.
Yeah, was on the live stream with Ty Lil, and Ty Lil's sister comes out and grabs his dick. And grabs it like during the live stream, and you can see
he's on Power.
Power, that's the fucking guy. It's the son, right?
That's the biggest show. He's on Power and he's on Book of Power. He's on both.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can't remember what's his name on the show.
He plays Tariq St. Patrick on Power and Power Book 2.
Okay.
Yep.
So now what I don't know is what, like, did he didn't like sue, like what occurred?
So he was on a live stream, which is like the next sort of like, I don't want to call it the next big thing because I sound like an old guy saying that.
No, it's the thing now. Yeah, it is.
It's streaming has been big. When I coined it the next big thing, it's like sort of like what we're doing now. I think the hip and cool thing to do is going to be the same way like Joe Rogan's podcast is like the thing right now, like the stop that people have to make. I think the live streams are going to become the next thing where like you do it's like the doing live TV interviews, whether you do The View in the morning or whatever, fucking Howard Stern radio, whatever.
Yeah.
The streams have become that, right? And so he was on the stream.
And Kevin Hart had something, right? Recently, right?
Kevin Hart was on Kai Cenat twice. And I think Kevin Hart is someone who doesn't get enough credit. He's usually ahead of the curve in terms of like whether it's social media. Dane Cook was the first one. Dane Cook, I remember in the early 2000s, Dane Cook was like collecting people's email addresses and that sort of thing. And Dane Cook was dropping DVDs and CDs and all that stuff for his specials, and they were big. And then he was collecting email addresses, and people were like, why? And Dane Cook was like, I'm on tour, and I just send an email to someone and go like, I'm in your city. And he was helping them sell tickets. And then when social media came out, guess who had a fucking database of everybody who had a Twitter account? Right. You know, it's like Dane Cook. And Kevin Hart has been very much that as well. And so it's cool. He recognized the space right now. It's Kai Cenat. Kai Cenat is the biggest streamer in the world. And Kevin Hart jumped on his stream for a couple hours at a stream, and then he goes on to do a sleepover stream with him as well, and Drewski, who's another big social media personality. And I think you're gonna see people do this more and more as these live streams.
Dude, not for nothing, man. So my son's during the Kevin Hart doing the Kai Cenat stream with Kevin Hart. Called me into the room. He was like, "Yo, Kevin Hart's on the Kai Cenat stream, right?" So I sat there and watched it for like 10 minutes, and they were doing this really dumb shit, but it was funny as hell.
Dude, all you need is 10 minutes, bro.
Where they put like they had like a box, and they would put like an animal inside, like a live animal inside, and they would blindfold Kevin, and he would have to put his hand in there and touch it and say what he thinks it is and how scared he was. He's putting his hand in there. It was fucking great, bro. It was so simple and stupid, but it's entertaining, bro.
There's zero production cost, right? Like you said, it's so simple, it's so stupid, it's entertaining. It's like we tend to overthink things, and like the entertainment now is so simple to put out. And like you said, your boys are watching this, they're calling you over, it's live. Even if you only watched 5 minutes of a 12-hour stream, it's still 5 minutes, and they're doing an aggregate of everyone who watched during this time frame.
And bro, and we're talking about it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Kevin Hart's always been someone who's ahead of that. So anyway, so to backtrack to the story, is like Michael Rayner Jr. Was on a live stream of a very popular streamer, and while he's on the live stream, the streamer's sister grabs his dick, like literally just grabs a handful, and you can see his face.
And stays there with her. You can see she's looking at him.
It isn't an accident. She gets a handful and holds on to that shit and is like not letting go, and looks at him. And you can see he's visibly uncomfortable. Like I don't call him uncomfortable. Like he feels unsafe because not
unsafe.
I'm not gonna pretend like
not
this dude's
unsafe.
a victim.
Uncomfortable.
But like, and I know people want to be like, oh, if a guy did this, it'd be whatever. I think the difference is
it's fucking different.
It is very different. I think the difference is that when this happens to a guy, we don't feel unsafe. When it happens to a woman, obviously it's intimidating. They feel unsafe and all that.
Yeah,
shit.
there's like a power dynamic. It's a power dynamic.
Absolutely. That's why I hate when people try to like make these things like equal, where they're just like, oh, if that was a guy, it would be X, Y,
yeah,
Z.
you're right.
I go, you're right. But also the woman who's getting grabbed by a 6-foot guy who weighs 240 pounds, who the thing isn't going to be as confident as a guy who is getting grabbed by a woman who's 5'2" and 130 pounds and is going to go, hey, bro.
Like, I could fuck you up.
Take your shit off my junk. You know what I mean?
Like I could fuck you up. Like,
we have to stop pretending like that isn't a thing. There's a power dynamic.
There's a power dynamic, bro.
So anyway, so she just grabs his shit on a live stream. And it's unapologetic.
She shoot her shot.
She shot her shot. Good for her. She was like, well, I can't hawk to her, but I could, like squeeze.
Well, maybe she wants to hawk to her.
Yeah, maybe she wants to. She's like, I don't know. Maybe she got inspired that morning by a little video from Nashville. I don't know.
So
but anyway, she just grabbed his shit.
Did he come out and say anything?
I think
or
afterwards he made some fucking statement about how uncomfortable it was and how, like, whatever.
I mean, yeah, I get that.
The whole, like, I can get you feeling uncomfortable, the whole thing you have to make about. And he wasn't playing victim, but it was almost like, oh, I was in this circumstance and yada, yada, yada.
Right.
Like, he made this whole thing, and of course, it goes viral because people were like, see, like, he got grabbed. Why aren't the rules the same? Blah, 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 blah. It's mostly dudes who don't get touched by anybody who are like, why aren't the rules the same? Because it's like, bro, because you have to assault someone to get someone to touch you. It's like, that's why the rules aren't the same. But, like, yeah, I hate that we pretend like there isn't this power dynamic thing of like that's why the rules are different. Like, listen, as someone who's like I have a daughter, right, and I have a son, and I know there's a there's like a sort of a what's the word I'm looking for here? There, like, the rules aren't the same for my daughter as they are for my son.
No,
right?
they're
because
not,
I know
bro.
there's a power dynamic in life and in people, and innately there's a thing where people are trying to get at my daughter. They're not necessarily trying to get at my son all the time. Not to say that bad things don't happen to guys, but like, I don't feel bad for Terry Crews getting diddled as much as I feel for like Scarlett Johansson getting diddled. Like, it is what it is. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not gonna pretend like like I know now it's supposed to be trendy to be like, oh, we're all the same. It's not. Like, if you're a dude, chances are you're capable of defending yourself in more situations
against
a woman.
Yeah.
And so
but if it's a bigger dude, good luck.
Yeah, you're fucked. Yo, so this shit went like super viral because like this chick grabs him, and it just turned into this whole thing where he, like, I don't want to say plays victim because I don't want to minimize his experience of feeling uncomfortable, because I think
he
that.
doesn't. I think his in his statement, if I remember correctly, like, he doesn't really downplay it. He kind of goes with it and just goes like, yeah, like, it was super uncomfortable.
It's weird, yeah. Also, as someone who's had their dick grabbed plenty of times, unsolicited, I could speak for him to go, like, in the moment, you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
that's wild.
You'd be like, wait a minute. I ain't even got a chubby yet.
Yeah, I had to think about that shit at all when I went home. I didn't feel victimized or nothing. Dude, I used to work for a major theme park. Fuck it. I used to work for Disney. And while I worked for Disney, I'm not gonna say names of anything, but I was the friend of certain characters, which meant I got to dress like some of them because I was cool with them or whatever. Anyway, people would grab your junk like so. You know, you go to Disney
on a regular.
Bro, if I tell you almost every weekend, it was almost every weekend, bro. It would be like, so I would be dressed as a character, and you know, if you go to a Disney theme park, people get in line, they want to take a picture with so and so, they get an autograph, whatever, yada yada. I was in those lines, and I would get a picture, you know, like whatever, it'd be kids, it'd be adults, it'd be whatever, it'd be people who, you know, like a lot of phenomenal experiences of people who waited their whole life, and it was really cool. But dude, sometimes you would get like an old lady who would be like fucking 70, 80 years old, and who would tell you like a sob story about her waiting her whole life to be here and visit and yada yada yada, and you'd be like, wow, like that's crazy, like I take this for granted, I live here or whatever, yada yada.
But you
like,
can't, but right,
for the photo.
Can't talk, right?
I can't
so
talk,
you
right?
can't talk,
Depending
right.
on the character, I can't talk. I did
true.
Where I could
you
talk.
can do face characters, yes.
Yeah, so I did some of those where I could talk.
At the company.
At the So, but I would say almost every weekend, at least once, someone would just grab my junk, and they would do it either in the middle of their photo or bro, sometimes it wouldn't even be the photo. It would be the minute they approach me. It would be like I'd take a picture with some kid and you know whatever, and then the kid would walk away and the person would come up and it would be some woman, and she would, mind you, she doesn't know what I look like.
I was gonna say, did you have more of that happen as a face character or as the
character they can't see? And it happened to me as a face character, but nowhere near as much as it happens to a character they can't see. And they would just approach you, smile, and be like, "Oh my God, I've always wanted to like da, 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 da." And they would go, and it would be fun, and they would just grab a handful of it. Yeah. I'm talking the whole cash and prizes, just bam, and all the time. And never once did it occur to me to be like, I'm gonna report this bitch. And I also, on the flip side of that, I was never turned on. I was always like,
no, it's fucking
what the fuck? Right. I was like, are you just grabbing my dick right now? And then hilariously enough, more times than not, they were old as fuck. Yeah. And when I say old as fuck, I mean 70, 80. It would be like some old ass lady.
So they would be like in death years.
Yeah. And they would just grab my shit. And then the best part about that is they would grab it through the photo. Because sometimes people would approach you and they would want to hug you. And they would just get a squeeze and then they would hug you, right? Sometimes they would get a squeeze, they would hug you, and then they pose for a photo. And then we were trained, like, you keep your hands where people could see them. They would just grab a handful of your shit like they were your cup, right? Bro, these old ladies would grab my whole junk, and then they would make comments the whole time about like whatever they thought about it.
Oh, I thought it was bigger.
Yeah, so whatever. They'd be like,
I thought Goofy would have been bigger.
They'd be like, oh shit, it's a mini in there. Whatever. They would make some fucking comment. But bro, the whole time they wouldn't let go, and I'd be like, can I have it back? Bro, it would be so fucking crazy. I would literally just be looking down. So a lot of times in these costumes, you can't, like, your eyes aren't where your real eyes are, right?
Yeah, they'd be like in your mouth.
Yeah, right. Like my mouth or my nostrils or my neck would be, and I would just be looking down, and I would be like, her hands are on my shit right now. And I would just be like, what the fuck? And then some of them would
should have made eye contact.
Oh, bro. And then occasionally, you're not supposed to talk, but I would just make a comment or say some shit. Or they'd be like, I know you're not allowed to talk. And then they would just say some wild shit to you. And you're like, are you grabbing my shit right now? Can you let go? Bro, and it's so funny because I go, we always think of dudes as doing, this happened, I don't know how many times it happened to me, but let's say it was 100. I'm going to say...
Yeah, you think it's that much, bro?
Oh, bro.
Easy?
When I tell you it happened to me every weekend that I work there, I'm not exaggerating. It happened to me at least once a weekend.
I picked the wrong
and I
job
can't even say... And I can't even say that it was like, when I was a face character, it would still happen. And I get it. People can see what you look like.
Right.
And, like, I get it. But... it happened to me when I was dressed like a fucking animal, right? Whatever it was. So I don't think it mattered. I think people just wanted to fuck around.
And get the picture.
And get the pic. Yeah. And I'm sure they're like in their family photo right now. Like, look at me. I had my hand full of fucking so-and-so's junk. Like, look at Tigger's dick in my hand. Goofy. But
You mean...
bro, it would be so fucking crazy. I'm like, and I was part of some controversial moments there where like wild shit happened because characters did the opposite to the thing, and I'm like, that shit happens to me every weekend. ain't no special for me, nothing.
I don't give a fuck about you. Fuck your dreams.
But if let's say it happened 100 times, I don't know what the number is. I'm just gonna use that number. It happened a lot. But let's say it happened 100, 95 of them were women.
Oh, so, like, so you get dudes too?
Yeah, I got a handful of. Oh yeah, dudes. Always a gay dude. Always a gay.
Really? Okay.
Always a gay. Yeah, because you got to think about
like flamboyant.
Yeah, you got to. Yes.
Like absolutely. So you knew he was. Yeah.
But you got to think about the because of my height, the people I was playing were guys. Right? It was it was guy. It wasn't a character that was sort of ambiguous. Yes. It was a guy, and so the out of every 100, it was 95 of them were girls. But you'd have that handful of guys, which I go, yo, we're gross. Like I can get guys. Like the guys, when it would happen with a guy, I'd be like, I get it. Yeah,
I get it. Yeah,
like, I get it. Like, and they were super flamboyant over the top, and they were unapologetic. They would say shit, and then it'd be like, you know, I had to get a hand with your junk. I had to get a picture with your junk in my hand. I'm sorry. You'll be fine. And then they walk off, and then they were super crazy about it, and you're like, I respect it. You acknowledge it. There would be some fucking Betty who was 95 years old who would just grab your shit and be like, I've been dying to come here my whole life. And then you're like, that's cool, but you mind letting go of my balls? That shit hurts.
Right as she pisses in her diaper.
That shit was fucking crazy. It was so funny, bro, when I saw the story about like, like this whole shit. I'm like, oh, that shit happens to me all the time.
Yeah, get over it.
About the grabbing by the dick. I'm like, could be in a bitch. I'm like, you know how many times my dick been grabbed unsolicited? And I can't even say that like braggingly. I'm like, I was in a fucking animal costume.
He's a fucking furry.
He's a fucking furry, bro. People are just like, I was just gonna grab his dick.
Yo, let's get out of here. On that, tell them where they can find us.
At the Common Foot Podcast on pretty much everything, on YouTube, on IG, on Facebook, and at Carbon FP Pod on X. And then TikTok, there's no duh. It's just at Carbon Footprint Podcast on TikTok. So make sure you follow us on there. That's probably the big one right now. So do that. And then all your favorite audio platforms, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the big ones. And if you're unsure, just ask whatever your smart device is, whether it's an Amazon Echo or Google Home, whatever. Just ask it to play the Carbon Foot Podcast and it will know where to go.
Yeah. Absolutely. And as always, we appreciate you guys. We will see you next week.
See you next week.
Peace.
Peace.